All right, we're recording. All right, what's up, Chris?
Oh
Uh,
man.
Good to see you. Been a while since we've been at it, but
Yep.
most of you guys know who we are. Steve Konopka, Strength and Honor Training in Simsbury, Connecticut. This is Chris Janek, Tanks Training Facility in, I always forget your town.
Grant, Granite City, Illinois.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful Metro East.
So this time we're getting together and we're talking about we had a lot of in-season football questions, and I'll go over them real quick. We had about 38 questions. In our top four were how many times a week we should train in season, how heavy should I be going compared to the summer, any exercises that I should be doing, 100, or any exercises I really shouldn't be doing. That's kind of like a double question there. And if we got time, we got what's your favorite exercise to do in season? So those are out of the 38 questions, those are the ones that came up multiple times the most, or some type of
Yep.
form of that question. And we'll get it. We'll go from there, get these answers out to you guys, and hopefully everybody, from athletes, parents, coaches can utilize them and help athletes out all over the place that Chris and I can help personally. So, Chris,
Yeah.
why don't you start off with the first one? This one was a
Yep.
big one. How many times a week in season should I be training?
So I'll start by saying, I don't know in your area, but there's still in our area where coaches, and it's not all, but it's a high percentage, you're in season. I don't want you working out, which to me is just dumb.
Yeah.
So it kind of depends. If you're getting 60, 70, 80 snaps, you might work out a little less throughout the week. If you're I guess you don't redshirt in high school if you're not getting snaps, barely played, maybe more. But I think a good blend for a starter, getting a lot of snaps 2 days a week is good. If you're not playing, uh, probably three. I think anything more than that, because you're on the field much, you might be on scout team or I guess in high school be JV or whatnot. You're not getting as much snaps. 3 times of work more. For me, all the kids I train, I tell them to get at least two, one upper, one lower. Um, after the game, usually the day after or 2 days after, and then early in the week. Most of our games, probably like yours, are played Friday. So I would say Tuesday is probably the latest. And then we do like a recovery on Wednesday. We have a massage therapist, body tempering certified person that does that. A lot of recovery on Wednesday, and then Thursday is just rest, shut it down, manifest, visualize. Um, but I still think we go into the questions. I think the questions. I don't want to get too far into the next. So just to answer that question, because if I go branch off any further, or go on the others, the best I'd say is two, one upper, one lower. Uh, and then if you're not playing as much JV or barely in snaps, you could
Yep.
do it three. Anything more than that because of the ground time outside, and then like if you're not playing, you're probably getting a ton of scout team. So forward probably too much. I think forward would be more like an off season. 2 to 3. There you
Yep.
go.
Yeah, that's what I'm with you on that. We're 2 to 3 here always. We're
Yep.
always the day after the game. Um,
Yep.
we're day after the game, and it's mainly a lower body, and we do some upper body as well. Then so typically we're playing Friday nights. Sometimes we do have a Thursday night game. We have like two of those. Every team has to have two of those because of referee shortage in our state for some crazy
Oh
reason.
wow.
Yeah, I don't comprehend it, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I can say the refs that we do have are doing a pretty good job at the high school level. So we're always typically, if we like tonight, we're playing tonight. We have a big game, Thursday night game. We'll do our main lift tomorrow after school, which kind of stinks, and then we'll lift Saturday and then Monday. But on a typical Friday night game, we come in Saturday morning. The team has breakfast at 9. They have film from 9:30 to 11, and then they're with me for lift 11 to 12-ish, and we do a little bit of recovery as well,
Yep.
myofascial release and stretching. Then we'll have a heavier lift, more explosive lift on Monday, right
Yep.
after school, before practice. So they're getting all primed up, juiced up, body's ready. And Sundays are completely off. So Saturday would be our main lift, our first main lift, right? Sunday completely off. I always have the guys, the ones that are with me personally in my private studio, sometimes they're coming in just getting recovery stuff, work done. We have a place here that does compression and
Oh,
cryotherapy.
nice.
Yeah, I cryo in Avon, and a lot of our guys are going there. You know, they go once a week at post game. My son uses it a lot, so we'll hit that breakfast, film, big lift on Saturday, right to I cryo, and these guys are feeling like they haven't even played a game, so it's pretty
That's
good.
awesome.
Yeah, especially the ones that are consistently taking care of themselves. It makes a big impact. So we would
That's
typically
awesome.
lift Saturday, Monday, and then Wednesday night we're getting if we're playing Friday, we're getting almost like a pump and prime, right? We're getting a lot of band work for shoulders. We're getting a good dynamic stretch. I like here doing like a clean high pull, right? So we're
Yep.
not cleaning, getting under the ball, under the bar and all
Yep.
that. We're getting that a moderate weight. We're getting a nice high pop and
Yeah.
explosive dynamic effort. And then we get some sled pulling in, neck work, a little bit of a band chest press. So we lighten up two of those Elite FTS bands, those, the thicker orange ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get those out and we get out some good distance, and linemen are popping them rapid fire. And then, it's a short lift. We're in and out in about 35 minutes, maybe 40. And it's after practice. So they're juiced up. They feel a lot better and explosive leaving than they are coming in. And then Thursday's completely off. And then obviously Friday, they're just getting ready for their game. So
Yeah, that would change if you got a
2 to 3.
game on like a Thursday and not till the following. So that's a whole nother day during the week. So I could see why, maybe 3 days would fit.
Like
That
this week,
makes
we're
sense.
playing on Thursday. We only got Saturday and Monday in. All right. So we,
Okay.
we didn't do anything last night. We
Yeah.
their normal dynamic stuff that they do, stretch and all that. But like next week, we're not playing until Friday night. So we're gonna get 3 in next week. So
I wonder if Illinois, we don't at least, I wonder if certain states have a bye week. So that would change the dynamic a little bit as well. If
yep.
there's a bye week, you get a little bit more in, get
Right.
caught back up. So I
We had
don't
our
know.
bye
I don't,
week.
you
We had
guys
our
do.
bye
So
week last week,
that
right?
would make sense. So we do not have bye weeks. That's why. So if I had a bye week, I'd probably get them in 4 times that week.
Yeah.
I mean, you got almost 2 weeks till you play. So
Yeah,
that
we
makes sense.
played on a Thursday and then had a whole bye week and playing on another Thursday. So it was like, yeah,
2 weeks. Wow.
yeah. So it was getting in there, and it was crazy. Is we had two holidays or two school issues, so we couldn't even get into the gym, the school weight room. The school wasn't even open for these guys to lift. They had to bring their
Oh,
pads.
sure.
Yeah, it's crazy. So there was guys that didn't even live for a week and a half because they're not, they don't come to my studio and stuff like that. It was frustrating, but hey,
Hopefully they did something on their own.
yeah, hopefully. Don't put it this way: the ones that are dedicated, they did. They're
Yeah.
either the ones that can't come to me or they go on their own to their own gym, public gym. So
Yeah. Right.
yes, 2 to 3, we're both on point. We're there. I've seen that the best, and obviously, if there's a short weeks, like one week we had a Saturday game and we played on Thursday, so we only got one lift in that week. We got two like mobility days, where we're just stretching, dynamic stuff, band work, but they were beat up. What we do in that weight room is maintaining the hard work in the off season and keeping them mobile and strong throughout the season. We
Yeah.
beat them up in there. So
Yeah.
yeah, so everybody 2 to 3 days. And like I said, that third time, those weeks we get 3 in, even if it's only a 7-day work week, that third one is more of a pump and prime 30,
Yeah.
40-minute workout. So
Yeah.
now the next one that goes right along with that is how heavy should I be lifting compared to my summer lifts? So yeah, this was putting so many, hey, I squatted 405 for 3 in the summer. How much should I be squatting now? And then someone was like, hey, I don't want to lose my bench, so can I still bench my max? And so there's a lot of questions all relative to that. So I
Yeah.
think this is a good one to hit if you want to take
Yeah.
the lead
Yeah.
on or
If you got a percentage and you tested the 1 rep max, I would say a good blend would be like your 80, 85% for a few reps, to keep that maintenance work up. If you don't do that, you're going to lose. So I think season is just about maintaining. There's very few that'll get stronger in season. But if you maintain that strength at that sub max at 80, 85, you'll be good. And you can do that with all the compound lifts, whether you do a high pull, a squat, a deadlift, a bench.
Yep.
Um, I think that's your best percentage. If you have a one rep max, if you have a percentage to base off of, 80 to 85% is a good. Now, that's not accessories. Generally, you're not going to.
You're not
Hey, I
maxing
did a
out
tricep
accessories. Yeah.
extension for 200 pounds for one. Well,
Yeah.
that's more your fluff and puff, your chase the pump, some accessories. But the compounds and the secondary exercises, you could stay pretty heavy on it. You just want to lower the volume. So, if you're doing like a 5x5 in the off season, you might want to do like a 2 or 3x5
Yeah.
and
That's
a
what we do.
lower percentage. Yep.
We
Yep.
knock out
So,
we go for bench. We'll line up with just the bar, get that off rack, squeeze shoulder
yep.
blade, squeezing the bar, rapid fire 10
Yep.
reps, pulling yourself off that bar, get that
Yep.
CNS firing. Then we'll hit a light set of 10, light set of 8. Some coaches are like, you're wasting time. I personally like that. And I personally see the kids, you're bridging from that set of 10 to that set of 5. And then we always hit three
Yep.
sets of 5. And, some of our guys are strong. If you're benching 225, 285, 260, somewhere around there for 5, I see problems going from 135 for 10 all the way up to 2 for that first set of 5.
Bro, I legit see these kids. And I'm getting stronger. I still start with the bar and I
Yeah.
put a little change on and build and build. I see some kids bar right to a plate. I'm like, look, dude, get a couple reps in, build up first. You're going to pull something. You're in season. You're already fatigued. If
Yep.
you don't build up to that, you're going to pull something. Maybe
Got
not.
to
You're a little
grease
younger,
the
but you
groove,
want
man.
yeah, 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 exactly. So yeah, that's a good point for sure. Warm it up a little bit. Don't just jump to that 80 or 85%. Get a couple build-ups, a couple warm-ups.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, we're in the same school here. I agree with you completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we usually go that 3 sets of 5 after a 10 and an 8. With the only thing I lightened up is the clean high pulls, right? Because I'm looking for
Yeah.
really good speed and dynamic. So I'm in that 70% of their hang clean,
Yep.
right? I don't have a lot of data on it. We've only been doing it this year, but in that bye week, we had people do their hang cleans because we had such a long time. And they've maintained that strength, and everybody's pop is there. So I think I'm pretty close to as good as I get. I'm always looking from data from one of
Yeah.
these time
Yep.
coaches, from the schools and from anybody. But yeah, typically everywhere else we're at that 80%, 85 in those 5, somewhere around there. And but I lighten it up a little bit because I really want that. I really want that pop, that hip
Yeah.
extension. That so
Dynamic and speed. I get that for sure. You want to make sure the bar moves fast,
yeah.
not slow. The
Yeah.
football's not a slow sport.
Yeah, and then where I'm making up for some of the deficit in there is we move the sleds heavy. I think the sled pulling and pushing and dragging is a very safe exercise. There's no strain on the
Yeah.
um, and so we put some weight on there. We vary it with our linemen and we got a strip so we can hit 3 sleds. It's tight, but if they're in high school, they should be able to do it. There's times I'm
Yeah.
yelling at them, but we get 3 sleds. You
Yeah,
know,
man.
it's like a highway out there, and it's really working, especially that triple extension with the Achilles, ankles, knees. So that's where I'm getting a little bit heavier of a load.
I learned the sled stuff, and you weren't out there with New Jersey Gladiators, but in Fair Lawn, New Jersey, at Parisi's with DeFranco,
Yeah,
Martin Rooney. I never met Bill Parisi, but I was always told, oh, don't push or pull anything more than there's a percentage. It'll make you slow. And Joe's putting, hundreds of pounds on there.
yeah,
And I'll tell you this, I'll take it. Herb's, Ben Herbert, he's now with the Chargers. He left. But at Michigan, I'm telling you, they were doing prowlers
yeah,
with, I think it was like 275, 285. There was a set weight. And he had a formula. I think it was a 10 or 15 yard go. And it was a time, and he had some data collected on how, the high end athletes, there were some scores he had. He's been doing it for years. So the sleds are great options, fantastic options.
and
Push and pull.
yeah, push pull and dragging. It's
Yep.
so crazy. You said that, like I learned all the sled stuff from Joe DeFranco.
Yeah.
You bring it up, and it's the jersey. That's what it's thing. It's like
Yep.
it's I'm never. All my kids were always that I trained, always a great burst, always a great get off, and it was
Yep.
we always hammered home sled. And then finally, once I took over to high school, and I like they had one sled and half of it, I was like, listen, man, to do this program right, we need sleds, and we got it. We
Yeah.
raised the money and got it. And I'm a firm believer, just on the safety issue as well. You can really load it
Yeah.
up. The big time colleges like Michigan, Bama, Ohio State, they've been hitting the sleds hard for a decade.
Oh, big time.
Yeah. So I figure if it's good enough for
You
them, I better learn how to do it. So
Herb's reached out to me when he got the job at with the Chargers, and I hooked him up with Nate from Elite, and I think he bought like 15 or 20 of them for there. So they must not have them, but right away, boom, right away they got them.
it's
So
a,
it,
it's a
there's some to it. I love them myself. I still push them myself now. Not
yep.
as much volume because I get out of breath a little bit, but they're awesome. I love them.
All right. Sounds good. So we're sitting there with well, 2 to 3 times a week on that first question, getting what you can in. Lifting heavy, we want to be in that 80% range, just cutting down maybe the volume of sets. And then the third one, are there any exercises I should or shouldn't be doing in season? I'll lead on this one.
Yep.
I don't think there's anything you should or shouldn't be doing technically, but one of my biggest things is I don't like doing any exercises you're not familiar with. So
Yeah.
if you didn't do hang cleans or squats in the off season, you shouldn't be doing them in season, right?
Yep.
Now it gets to a point where sometimes we still had a handful of kids that don't take advantage of our strength training in the summer, which is crazy. Like they just whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's not as important to them. So it is what it is. But so that's, in my opinion, that's different, right? So if you didn't work out all summer and now you're in season, well, you're going to work out now. So it is
Yeah.
what it is. But as far as the kids that were busting their tail, putting in the work 4 times a week, 5 times a week, and driving, I don't like adding anything new that they're not familiar with. I think it's too much of a stressor on their body, CNS, and awkwardness, right? People can get hurt. A lot of these guys are strong. The littlest weight, you're doing rear foot elevated split squats with a barbell. They're not used to that. Boom,
Yeah.
they go down too far, lose balance, and they pull a hip flexor or something. So that's my biggest thing is what to add, what not to add. Is just I wouldn't do anything that you haven't done or familiar with. I don't like adding new stuff. And as for, I'm a huge believer in sleds in season. All right, that's the one
Yeah.
thing. If you didn't do sleds in the off season, it's safe enough to do. And there's no eccentric load as well, so that's keeping you fresh. So that's my opinion on that question there.
Yeah. We do pretty much everything off season that we do in season. Um, I don't think you should avoid anything. Just scale back the volume a little bit in season. You don't
Yep.
want to do as much as it off. You'll beach, and that is I don't know about out there, but here it's hard. Some of the kids, young adults, they'll uh, they'll lift with us and they'll still got to get to the gym, get a little more pump. I'm like, you're gonna overtrain. Doesn't matter how old you are. You've done enough. Relax. If you overtrain, injury
Yep.
greatly increases, right?
100%.
So, keep it smart, stay within those few days, and anything you did off season, you could do in season. The one thing we don't do as much, we don't do as many plyos or jumps because you're getting a lot of that on the field.
Right. That's a
So,
good point.
yeah, we shoot for, 60 to 80 jumps of some sort, depths, broad progressions, all that. We'll scale back that a little bit. We might do one as like a primer pre, but we don't do a lot of it. You're doing enough of that on the field. So I think it's safe to do anything, just scale back the volume, a little bit.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Mm.
Uh, Let's see. I kind of actually answered this. So that last one was, what's your favorite exercise to do in season? Again,
Yep.
under parameters of, hey, I don't add anything new. All right. I don't like anyone doing something new, unless
Yep.
you fall into one of those underliers that, don't work out, hasn't worked out in the off season. I'm a huge fan in sleds. I know we've talked a lot about it already in this brief time, but yeah, for me, I just think there's a lot of advantages to it. I don't think there's any exercise that you're doing in your off-season program that, like you just said, that isn't necessary. All right. So if you're doing all the right stuff, all that stuff is necessary in season as well. But some of the guys that are, especially if you're injured, banged up, that sled is a lot easier on your
Yeah,
body
man.
to get some work done. So that's one of my tricks, and I like working on grip strength as well. So
Yeah, man. I'll tell you, I like if you teach it right, and I again, the way I teach is different than anyone else, but a box squat is very useful in college. That unload, or in high school, sorry, in football, it unloads at the bottom, so
yep,
you're getting a little bit of eccentric. That amortization is kind of boom. You don't get as sore. You get a concentric. The unload, I know firsthand. When I played, I would always do a certain number. It was a lot, and I never got sore. So for me, box squats get you a little less sore. So if you teach it right, the actual sit back technique, it's not, it's different. It's not a squat, it's a box squat. So I
yeah,
think that is a very great. You can still load a lot, still get that little CNS fired up, but you're not getting that sore. But that question, I'm looking at the notes on uh, favorite exercise during the season.
yeah,
I don't think you want to limit, and I understand where the question comes from, but don't limit just to one exercise. Stick with what you've been doing um, in the off season. I hope you've been working with a good coach. But
yeah,
I think I can't really answer my favorite exercise. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think I can't really name a favorite.
yeah.
Um, I like all of them.
Right, because you don't do any exercises for the gimmicks or any
Yeah,
flashy or for all
no,
that
yeah.
stuff. So it's
You
it's
see a
all the
lot of that on
fundamentals.
IG. A lot of those IGs are like, "What's your favorite?" What's that one that there's really not just one.
Right.
If there was just one exercise that turned you into a monster, let me know because there's more than just. I mean, there's all kinds. There's not just one exercise, but I understand the question. I get it. Um, your squats are great, back and front.
Yep.
Uh, your bench is great, flat inclined. Your high pulls, like you said, a lot of coaches I know, Paulie with the Blackhawks now, it's a different sport. He doesn't do the clean anymore. He just does the high pull. He doesn't
Okay.
drop. He said he's
Oh,
getting the
drop it.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah, he pulls and they drop. They just do singles. So
Okay.
he's no longer and it's been for years. He has not done a hang clean or a power clean. He does a power high pull, I guess is what you call it,
Yeah.
and they drop. They just do singles. He just bursts.
Wow.
He doesn't do that. He said he's too worried. Now again, you're dealing with multi-million
Really.
athletes. He's too worried about their shoulders and stuff. And he
Shoulders,
says,
elbows. Yeah.
yeah, and our high school kids, you could still get hurt, but with them being a little younger and you're generally, I've never seen anyone that got hurt from a clean.
Yeah.
I've seen some bad form too,
Yeah.
and I've never seen anyone get hurt.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Usually, I mean, we had a few kids, they're cleaning some pretty darn good weight, and,
yeah,
they're getting buried at the bottom. And it just, if you're doing it
yeah,
right, if your form's good, yeah, it bounces off. It looks scary for a second, but they hop up. I mean, I remember when
yeah,
I got buried, every
man,
time I was always trying to, do something new, but
yeah,
yeah. So yeah, so mine and for me is sled. I just think the benefits, and it's yep, you stick to your fundamentals and all those foundational lifts that got you to where you are.
yeah,
Yeah, so we got through those pretty quick. We got about 2 minutes left on our call here. Um, I think one of the biggest another thing on there was like one of the, what do you see as a negative that happens in season? My biggest thing I see is lack of consistency and training and stretching, and even sometimes
yeah,
coaches, like, they're in the beginning in the off season and training camp, they're all like, oh yes, it's you got 15 minutes for dynamic warm up and stretch, and then they slowly take a couple minutes away here and there, and then it's, yeah, 10 minutes for a dynamic warm up, and then some of these kids, they only really utilize six of it, and
yeah,
I see that a lot, and it's like it's aggravating. It's like, listen, you need this more now than you did
yeah,
before, right? And so the biggest negative I see in season is the lack of consistency and the stuff that prepared you for the season. Like you got
Yep.
to be on top of your mobility and your stretching. Like key. If you're not mobile, you're going to get hurt. Different joint.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like your ankle's a 360 joint, your knee's a hinge. If you don't work on your mobility or stay on top of your ankles, now your hinge joint is picking up that range of motion, and now you're going
Yep.
to pock a limb.
Yeah. Consistency is key. I said it earlier. A lot of coaches, not just football, all sports think, hey, we're in season, no more lifting.
Yeah.
And that's nuts, number one, but be consistent, still lift. And it's recovery too, like you said, all that. Massage therapy, if you can afford it, once a week.
Right.
If you
Yeah.
can't afford it, find the body tempering. And you can body temper yourself, but really unless somebody's rolling you, find a teammate. Roll. Foam rolling is old. It's been around for how many years?
Yeah.
Old school after practice, stick around, stretch. Have a partner stretch you. I mean, you said cryotherapy out there is big.
Yep.
Ice tub. I'm sure we have it around here somewhere. It's got to be, but ice tub recover is huge. But be consistent with it. If you again, I like massage there. I have one at the gym now. She's awesome. So, and she's tough. She is not like a little.
Yeah. It's not
She
fluff. She's putting bruises on you.
yeah puts you in. When I say put you in tears, it's all for a purpose.
Right.
It's very good. But that's another. If you can get that massage weekly, just not too close to the game.
Right.
That's like recovery, and